So, hi everyone, and thank you very much for watching or listening today. Today, I have a very special guest on the show who I'm very, very excited to interview. This man's story is truly inspirational. What he's overcome is incredible. It really shows people that there is hope, no matter what your circumstances are in life. We'll get into that later on. He's a high level professional MMA fighter, also a boxer as well. He fought Roy Jones Jr., and also an ex-basketball player, ex-youth worker. This man has done some incredible work in his life to help others as well as his own success. Ladies and gentlemen, Vyron Phillips, from the UK to Canada. Today we'll be talking about his life and career. So, Champ, sorry about talking about you in third person like that, but I just want to say a big thank you for coming on the show, and I appreciate you making the time.
Thanks for having me. And hi, everyone, through the virtual world.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, I definitely think there's people all over the world that'll be watching this, and they love to hear about your story. So, let's get into it a little bit. I mean, we obviously we'll talk about the fights, we'll talk about your background, we'll talk about a bit of everything. But I think it'd be interesting for people to hear about what your life is like now. In Canada, obviously we've been through the pandemic. In recent times, which has affected a lot of fighters. Training schedules and things, what they're doing and things like that. So just tell us a little bit, please, about anything you'd like to say about what your life is like right now at the beginning of 2022, please, champ. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, no problem. Right now, I'm working for the North Shore Tribal Council. So I'm doing some community work with them as a facilitator, um, life building skills and giving job opportunities to people in the community. Far as fighting, right before the pandemic, I had the big fight in Calgary for the belt, and then I was coaching a young lady, never fought before, and so I transitioned from fighting to coaching. So I've been coaching a lot. She ended up winning the nationals Muay Thai, which is good. First woman in Sault Marie to win. So that was good. First time ever doing it. So I just kind of transitioned to the coaching role. I do still want to fight. I do try to train when I can, but I'm kind of really, really stuck on a coaching role, like coaching. I did do some coaching after I graduated university as a basketball coach. I was a basketball coach, so I do love the coaching aspect. It's different. It's a way to compete here instead of here. So I've been doing that. The pandemic been rough. I went through some things. I got diagnosed with alopecia, a rare form of it, which is really, really, really severe. I can't even say the name. I think it's alopecia universalis, something like that. So I had long hair, dreads. I lost my hair, lost my eyebrows, lost my eyelashes, and that's why I have a hat on right now. It's something I'm trying to get used to. I'm trying to accept. And some days I do, then some days I don't, because I look in the mirror and I go, "Who's this guy? It's not me." So I'm trying to accept that, and I'm sure one day I'm gonna accept it and embrace it. But right now I'm struggling with that. Um, One thing about me that we'll get into is when it comes to challenges in life, I overcome them. I find a way to overcome them. But I am human, and I do need time to fall down, sit on my butt a little bit, think about it, and get my butt up and continue. So right now I'm going through that. Um, Other than that, I guess life is as good as it could be at this time. I have not been home to see my family because of the pandemic. That's kind of tough, but other than that, like I said, life is what it is right now. Um, the life we have right now.
Yeah, there's some good points there, champ. I mean, in terms of the gratitude and in terms of, yes, you do find a way to overcome things, and I'm sure you'll overcome this challenge as well. But it really does highlight to people that, obviously it's not always easy, but it is possible. It's always possible. And we'll get into that more later on, 110%. So, and it's great on the coaching as well, because I know giving back is very important to you. So we'll also talk about that as well. But before we do, like I said to you at the beginning, we'll start with some recent times, and then we'll go back in time. And I know a lot of our viewers, obviously being fight fans and being sports fans in general, will want to hear about that. Now, it's been a few years since the Roy Jones fight, was a massive opportunity for you. And I'll just touch on this a little bit, touch on the MMA, and then we'll go back in time to what you overcome. But that, fighting one of the greatest of all time, Hall of Famer, everything he's accomplished. I know it was later on in his career, but hey, he's still Roy Jones. And it was a tremendous achievement, I think, to be in there, with someone like that. So I'd just like to get into, your recollections. I know we're coming from the present day, we're going back a little, a few years now. Your recollections for that fight, because this really illustrates how far you've come, to where you are now and where you were then, from where you've come from, which we'll get into very soon. So your memories of fighting Roy Jones Jr. I don't have like a really specific question about, this round or this particular thing. Obviously, you were the one in there with him. So can you just share with us some of your memories of that opportunity and what it was like? That would be fantastic for the fans all over the world, I think.
Yeah, it was right before the fight. It was I was in Japan. I was fighting. I was on a TV show called Fight Exchange season 2, and I was fighting for the Pancrest. And I heard talks about Roy Jones wanting to fight an MMA fighter. And I guess he wanted to fight Anderson Silva. I was like, and I popped him out. I was like, man, I'll fight that guy. I'll take that fight. And just in my head, right, it sounded like, because I always looked up to Roy Jones, my favorite fighters of all time. So months flew by, and I'm at home. And after fights, I eat junk food, pizza, donuts. But I just a bad eater, so I'm eating, not training, enjoying life. I get a phone call, hey, Roy Jones, interested in finding an MMA fighter. They're gonna do this thing to see who has the most fans and the most support to make this happen. And you were selected as a top guy to fight. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. So then they started the voting and the event. And 5 days later, like, yeah, we're gonna fly you to Las Vegas. You're fighting Roy Jones in 2 days. I'm like, okay, cool. So I get off the phone. I go to my gym. I start shot. I had no training partners around. My coach wasn't around. I go to the gym. I shadow box for like an hour. Get on a plane. I get there. It was the whole experience was cool, right? Regardless of the results, it was cool. I got there. I met him. We had lunch. We talked. Uh, and then I had to go through some like a small training camp because it was like, okay, this guy's an MMA fighter, but at the time, I wasn't a professional boxer, so it was like, okay, this guy gonna make his debut against Roy Jones. Like, we don't know about that, so I had to go hit the bag, hit pads, hit the bag. I had to spar, had to do all these things, and then the commissioner was like, okay, wow, this guy, okay, he got some skill. Okay, I'm gonna vouch. So he wrote a letter, because they had like a whole little boardroom, and they wrote a letter, and it was like, look, if anyone has a chance, this guy has a chance. Like, give him the chance. So they gave me a chance. The fight was supposed to be at 175. Roy Jones, because Roy Jones comes to that 201, and I'm like, I'm 176. Like, it was like, we can't tell Roy Jones. Like, we want to tell Roy Jones. So anyway, so I ate some pasta, stepped on the scale, was still not like, not heavy enough. But I wanted to fight still, right? So just one time lifetime. I want to do that. I don't care. Let me do it. So they let me do it. I remember walking to the ring. I'm like, I'm really about to fight Roy Jones, my idol. And then him coming to the ring. I know for the contest, it was $100,000 to win, but it was supposed to be you go 6 rounds, and after the 6 rounds, the fans will call in and vote online who wins. So it's supposed to be like kind of like I'm not gonna say like a it's supposed to be like a spar, like hard sparring. So we get out there, I'm out there, and I'm jabbing, little body shots, feeling good. And then, like, right after the end of the first round, I get hit with a nice right hand, boom. And I go, that wasn't in the script, like that. We're going that hard, but my mind's bobbled. I sit in my corner. My coach, like, he's saying something, and I'm like, Coach, I see 3 of you right now. He's like, don't worry about that. You hit the one in the middle. Okay, hit the one in the middle. So, because I'm so out of it. And so then the second round comes up, and I'm like, okay, like I'm kind of like, okay, so this is a fight, but it's supposed to be sparring. So I come out there, and I'm doing okay. And I try this stupid, I regret it to this day. I throw the stupid MMA punch. It's like a switch punch, like a switch stance punch. I throw the stupid MMA switch stance punch. Looks cool, and my right side is open. He steps back, bow. I look up, I see the floor coming towards me. Like, why is the floor coming towards me right now? Right, so from my face plant, I hear the referee counting, and I'm like, I gotta get up. I'm not staying down. And I get up. I think it was a count 8. I get up on 8, and the ref's like, no, it's over. I'm like, no, I'm up. And to me, I'm thinking I'm good to go, right? Because it's me. But the ref probably see my eyes all over the place. He's like, no, right? But I'm like, I'm good to go. Um, and Roy Jones is like, he fought a heavyweight. I think he wanted about a heavyweight. And he said he had guys with that punch, heavyweight guys and high level guys, and they will stay down. He was like, you getting up. He's like, that showed that was nothing but a heart. Like I couldn't believe you got up. Um, and Roy Jones was a lot older, but I feel like he's still like you can't catch up to his experience, no matter how old he is. He still has that experience. He's been there with everyone, so there's nothing that I could have done that he haven't seen. And all he knows is boxing, right? Um, I did learn a lot from that. I sat and talked with him, and he was like, when you came out there, you had a lot of respect for me, and I can tell that you looked up to me, and you wasn't trying to hurt me. Like he's like, I don't care who's in front of you. From this day forward, when you get in that ring, it can be your mama, your grandma. You go out there and you try to hurt them because they're in that ring. Nothing else matters. And he had to give me that mindset. And I always say I don't like to say I regret things, but I do regret that like the fight could have played out exactly the same. Could have got knocked out in the first round, first minute. I just wish I was able to show my skills. I actually try to go out there and try to win the fight. Because now I'm like, man, what if I would have tried it? What? So that's one thing I regret that I didn't get to show that killer instinct that I do have. So when I see guys like Conor McGregor getting 2 years of practice train, guys like Woodley getting 2 chances, 8 weeks camps, whatever, 3 months camp, I'm like, man, I had like a week. So that's one thing I do regret that I didn't get a chance to kind of show the fans that maybe I'm not Roy Jones, but I have some skills. Like I'm pretty good. So that's something that I wish I would have just at least tried to hit him hard as I can one time, and then dealt with the consequences. So, but it was good. And Roy Jones really, really, really good guy. He gave me his phone number. We talked a lot. He told me to come down there and train with him and be a part of his because he has a boxing league. And I kept saying, yeah, I'm gonna go, but I never went. I think in the back of my mind, I was like, man, this guy beat me in front of my family, my fans. I can't go down there. So I think it might have been a little bit of ego there. Like, I gotta beat you first, man. Let's run that back in the back room, and then I come. So I think I lost the opportunity with that because my goal was UFC or Bellator, and I think if I'd have went down there, he would have had so many connections, and it would have been different. But it worked out. I'm here, so maybe I'm supposed to be where I'm at now. But I didn't really truly um, grasp the opportunity that he gave me, especially inviting me to his home and to his gym and all that.
It's an incredible insight, I mean, into first of all everything the fans don't see, and this is something I love to get into with interviews because they see the fight, but they don't see all the the behind the scenes and what you go through and the roller coaster. So I've got to say, I mean, I remember following the fight when it was happening and everything, and because Roy, he was still in some great fights even at the end of his career. I mean, I think he had three more professional after you, and obviously not counting the Mike Tyson one recently, but so it was right at the end of his career, but he still had those skills, and I remember still following those fights, and there were some good fights at the end there. But everything you went through, the highs and lows, and some of the fact there's regrets. I mean, I'd say we live and learn, and I think things happen for a reason. I know it sounds like a sort of a cheesy thing, or some people think it's not a real thing, but I think things do happen for a reason, and where you're at now, you've learned a lot from that experience. So there's positives, to take away from it, and obviously such a massive experience like that it's never going to be perfect, but getting in there with a legend like that, like we say, once in a lifetime, and it's more than a lot of fighters ever get the chance to do, in their careers, even when they're really, really skilled guys like yourself, and they put the work in, it doesn't always translate into getting a big opportunity of that nature. So, it's definitely a blessing for you, I'd say, to be in there with him. So that's why I really wanted to start there because it shows, like I said at the beginning, this sort of illustration of the level you've got to. And obviously, I know you're more well known again for MMA, and MMA is your main thing. But even that with the boxing, it shows that. Now, I want to touch on the MMA briefly, and what we'll probably do is touch on it and then come back to it later. after we've gone into your early life. With your MMA career, I mean, you've accomplished a lot. You've been in there with some good guys. You fought in different locations, like you were saying about Japan just now and everything. So I just want to touch on, in your own words, like some of the proudest moments of your MMA career personally. Now, the reason I choose proudest moments is because when I ask different champions this, you never get the answer that you think necessarily you're going to get. I mean, I might think it's this fight and it's something else. Looking back on it now, so far, and I know you say you want to fight some more, and I really hope you do as well. What would you say is your proudest moment? Maybe it's not a specific fight, maybe it's a location, maybe it's your family being there to support you, maybe it's sparring, but just coming from what you've come from, which I promise our viewers we will get to now. Do you have like a proudest moment, or maybe more than one, or how do you feel about that side of things?
Um, yeah, I'll say one of the moments that really stick out to me, and proud moment was I fought at Target Center. So being a basketball player growing up and watching Timberwolves play basketball, I remember we had it might have been a state game at the Target Center, and then my basketball career played in the biggest stadium in Minnesota, this Target Center, and then I had my MMA last MMA fight at the Target Center. My family was there, my friends was there. It was crazy. Like it was to finish my amateur career off at the Target Center. That was huge, and it was my first time fighting back home. Um, and then as well as fighting in Japan, I never thought I'd ever leave the continent. So yeah, especially going to the Minnesota fight at the Target Center for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, incredible. You see, this is the thing, is it's never the answer. And I've asked that of so many champions and so many, elite guys like yourself. And it's never the answer I expect. I mean that in a good way. Because obviously, again, these are the things, that the fans don't always see is your proudest moments. Unless they watch an interview or something, you don't know just from watching the fights. So I think it's time to go back in time, basically, to sort of really highlight to people everything that you've overcome. And like I say, this is why I'm doing it in this order instead of a linear sort of order, because we see how where you are now fighting at this elite level, MMA, boxing, everything like that, and obviously giving back to people. But your upbringing was not at all easy, to say the least. I mean, that's probably the understatement of the year award for that comment, but it was not easy to say the least. So I want to go back there. Now, obviously, I am mindful of the fact it's probably not easy for you to talk about everything that went on, and I respect that fully. But let's just talk about those very early years, and everything I mentioned today, by the way, Cam, is not to dwell on any negatives, anything like that. It's all about giving people hope. So everything that we're talking about has a purpose of giving people hope. So frame it in that sense. And if there's anything that's really difficult to talk about, then don't worry about it. We'll leave that there. But going back, can you just explain a little bit about where you're from, the parental situation? I know you've given a few interviews where you discuss this, and I've got some notes here about it. But obviously, as I've said, it's far from easy. So in your own words, let's go back in time a little bit, please, champ.
Um, I was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, on the north side. I guess same story as everyone in Minneapolis. Single parent, rough neighborhood. So it was it's me and my younger brother, Vyron Phillips, my older brother, Willie, and then my sister. So four of us in the home with a single parent. Um, so earlier it was good, playing football, playing sports. Me and my younger brother were very, very close because me and him had the same dad. And then my other brothers, same mom, but we all lived together with different dads. So me and him had the same mom and dad. So we was very close. Um, we were 3 years apart, 11 and me 14. So earlier it was good. Life was life. Like kids not knowing anything was going on out in the world. Then I lost my little brother in 1996. He was playing outside with his cousins and his friend, and a drive-by, and guys trying to shoot the guy. The guy ran between my brothers that was trying to run away. He got struck with a straight bullet on his side and died on the spot. And that day, that changed my life forever. That was the day that changed my life forever. From there, I kind of didn't know I didn't know which way to go in life. I was hanging out with the wrong people, getting into trouble. I got kicked out of school. Got into a fight, and the guy was having a seizure, and I was still kicking him in the head because I didn't care. I was trying to do damage, and I was hurting about losing my brother. I was 14 or 13 at the time. Um, so when that happened, I got kicked out of school, and I met this guy at the park. Really good guy who really I think kind of made me who I am today because I have some of his personality. And he was a park board sorry for squeaking. He's a park board director, and he was like, "Hey man, like you got some skills in some basketball. You gotta pursue that, right? If you want to do something, if you want to do something for your brother, do that. Don't do the opposite. Don't go into the road of violence where that happened with him. Why do that?" And I sat there, and I remember seeing my mom cry, and even to this day, I cannot watch a woman cry at all. So seeing my mom cry in the kitchen, in the room, and hearing her cry, I was like, I don't want to hear her crying, and I don't want her to cry over me being losing my life and having to go through that again. I don't want to go through that. So I kind of went ahead at first. You know what? I'm gonna stick to basketball. I'm gonna see how far I can go with this, and I'm gonna just step on that court, and everything outside of the court, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be my new world on the court. So I played ball. And I was boxing on the side. And boxing was like football was my first love, but boxing was something I really enjoyed. So I did that into as I played basketball in high school. But I was like, I want to leave this. I want to leave Minneapolis. I want to leave the hood. I want to leave this. I want to go somewhere else. But boxing, they didn't have scholarships. They didn't have that. I was like, my way out, my ticket out is just basketball. I mean, just basketball, you get a scholarship to get out. So I kind of left the boxing behind, pursued ball, graduated. One of the first person in my household, maybe even in my mom's side of the family that graduated high school. And I was scared to graduate. I was like, man, am I gonna graduate? Like, I'm gonna graduate. So when I graduated, it was like that was like the biggest accomplishment ever to graduate. And then I was like, and I got a scholarship to play basketball um in North Dakota School of Science, NDSCS. And I was afraid to go to. I was like, man, I'm in college. Like, I don't know what to do there. Like, no, I'm not smart enough. Like, how am I gonna? Oh my god. So me graduating university. Because so when I went to North Dakota, I was seen by this coach from Winnipeg, and he was like, "Man, you're really really good." He was like, you should come to Canada. You ever been in Canada? I was like, "Nah, man." It's like, "Man, you get 5 years to play ball instead of 4." I go, well, "I get 5? I get an extra year?" So he was like, "You know what? Yeah, come play for us. You get an extra year, and it's a big school, and you'll love it." So I went down to visit, and then I loved the place, and I came back, told my coach, "Hey, after this year, I'm going to transfer." I'm the type of guy that's up front, just man to man, right? Went to Winnipeg. First time in Canada was like one of the best experiences of my life. Going to Winnipeg playing, but our team wasn't. We had like the best team on paper, but we wasn't gelling right. So another coach seen me play. He was like, "Hey, you're pretty good. But what is your goal? Like, what do you want to do?" I was like, well, I want to graduate, but I want to play overseas. I want to play semi-pro ball." And he was like, he played overseas in Portugal. Like, listen, I can't promise you can go overseas, but I can promise you I will make sure you graduate. I'm a coach at Algoma University. We have study halls. You will stay with me. I will make sure you get that degree. And then, as far as your overseas, I'll give you contact with my old coaches and my agents, but I will make sure you're going to get that degree. It's a smaller school. It's not like University of Manitoba, but and we're rebuilding. I was like, you know what, sure. So I came down to St. Marie. I was like, man, what is this town? So small. Ended up being the first team to win silver medal. So I got a silver medal. Got all-star, all-Canadian nominee, first person to score 1,000 points in 2 years. So I accomplished all these things. But the biggest thing is I graduated, got a degree in sociology and a minor in psychology. But my last semester of school, I got a call from an agent in Portugal, like, "Hey, we want to sign you to play ball. Come down right now." I think it was like it wasn't that much. It was I want to say like maybe 2,000 Canadian a month. And I was like, I can't go because I graduate. I got one more semester. I'll come after. And it was like, nope. So when I graduated, I tried to contact my agent. It was like, nope, that spot's gone. But I'm glad I didn't because how long do you play ball for? Because that degree means so much to me. So got the degree. Um, yeah, I got my university degree, and yeah, I'm here now.
Amazing. It is amazing. It's an absolutely incredible story. Obviously, big congratulations on that achievement because it is just testament to what people can do if they have the right goals and the right belief, and and as you say, you got out of there. Now, one thing that I want to highlight about that before we move on is that time when you were sort of grinding with basketball and you had that goal of getting out the neighborhood and graduating, and obviously that happened at the time before it happened. I just want to talk a little bit about belief as well, because I think this is very valuable to people, watching this, listening to this, whether they're in sports or whether they're in something else, of having a clear goal and working towards it. Because as I understand, you're actually the first person in your family, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was researching this, it came up in another interview to go to college and things of that nature as well. So at that time, how did you sort of keep the, the faith and keep the belief that you would get there, and obviously you did get there. But walk us through like the mental side of it, if that's all right, a little bit, Champ, because I think that's so valuable to people.
Yeah, it was tough, but I knew I knew I would get there because of my basketball abilities. I knew I'd be able to get there. But I didn't know if I would succeed there because my first years in college, I wasn't doing well. I was squeaking by, and I think the coach was like, "Listen, if you don't pass these classes, you can't play ball." I'm like, "Oh, sure, I can't play ball." So I really had to get like help and tutoring, and I even as a basketball player, I feel like I always had to um I always had to work hard than everyone. I always had to put in more time and study than the average person, and that's me even in life. So it was times where I was like, man, I can't do this, man. I'm taking like stats. I'm taking this class, and growing up, I didn't like we had to take a SAT or ACT. Because I had scholarships to some bigger universities, but you had to pass these tests to get in, and I didn't pass them. Because stuff on the test, I was like, I never learned this in school. So in the university, it was stuff that I never learned. I didn't even know. So it's like, I'm not. How am I going to get through this? I want to play ball. I don't want to go. I don't want to go back to Minneapolis. I don't want to be a fail. I don't want to fail. Um, and I always told myself, my little brother's no longer here, but he's living through me. So I'm not just living for myself. I'm living for him too, part of him. So I can't let him down. And it was long nights of studying, asking teammates for help, asking coaches for help, redoing tests. Right? Hey, could I do extra work? And it was long days, but I was not. One thing about me, I was not going back. I was not. I was not. I was not failing. And I feel like I had a lot of pressure on my shoulders to succeed. Right? To be the only one to succeed. Because where I'm from, even going to school was like, you're a nerd. Like, what are you doing in school? Or going to university. Like what are you? Are you you're corny, right? Corny. So yeah, so it was tough. So I lost a lot of friends, but I stayed focused, and it was some hard times, and I was able to do it. I kept the belief in myself, and I think I got the tattoo here in my left arm. It's in um, Chinese writing, and it says believe. And I always had that mindset. Just believe. Don't matter if they believe in you or they believe in you. You have to believe in you. If you don't believe in you, it doesn't matter who believes in you. So always live by that motto. You gotta believe. Have to.
Yeah, it is incredible again, to get into the mental side of it, because I know even the mental and emotional side of life is so important. Having the right psychology, having the right attitude to life, and it's the same obviously with fighting and things like that, but it's the same with life. It's the same with basketball and any type of thing. You've got to have the right, the right belief structure, I think, and it really highlights that because again, when I was researching this, I mean, graduating is always a great achievement anyway, but when I was researching this, like there was references to some of your family members going to prison and things like this, and I was thinking, reading this, and I was thinking, wow, this guy, he made it through all that. And it's a very similar thing over here in the UK as well. I mean, there's areas where people have pretty much the same type of problems, and there's areas where they don't, and it's the same type of thing. But I think, and I think it's the same all over the world. There's people in those kind of situations, and so in any country. So the fact that you show people, that you can overcome that with the belief and the hard work and all this type of thing is an incredible achievement. So Amazing. So we've talked a little bit about that. We've talked a little bit about the basketball as well and some of your big achievements um, there, and obviously the fact you're an all-around athlete with the football and things like that as well. Um, Obviously, if we move forward a little bit in time here as well, there was a time where you were working with the youth and things like that. And I think this is probably skipping on like a few more years now. But with working with the youth and giving back, was that something that you were inspired to do, sort of by your own background? Was that sort of the same thing of turning the negative into a positive? Well, let's just talk a little bit about how you got into that role and also what that role um, meant to you at that time, if you get where I'm coming from with this.
Yeah, like I said earlier, with the guy's name is Dennis Joyner, who was like one of my first mentors, and I met at the park. And I remember how when I was on my path and I was angry and fighting, he always showed up. He always talked to me, took me out to eat, and um, he was the first person to drive me to my first college visit. He drove me like this guy worked at the park, not family, not coach. He drove me to my first um, um, college visit. He also has been there when I least lashed out on him. When I got kicked out of my home, my mom kicked me out when she was going through her depression, losing my brother and going through her thing, and she wasn't herself, so she kicked me out, and I stayed with him. And he was going through a divorce, and he still, wherever he stayed, he made sure I was there. When he ate, he made sure I ate. So when I got older and I was had an opportunity to give back, especially especially know where I come from and seeing, like you said, around the world, it's different places, but we all go through the same thing. It's someone, and that's one thing I do want people to know. What my story is, you're not the only one going through it. You're not alone. You're never alone. So when I had the opportunity to work with these youth and these youth with these challenges, it reminded me of myself. Um, and I was like, if I can just, I can't put the pressure on myself of saving someone, but if I can give someone an opportunity or just the chance to make healthier decisions, that's all that matters. So I started working with the youth and really connected with them really well, and went from one youth to four to five to me working inside the home as a foster parent to me doing this and that, and just me being myself, like, hey, like, I've been there. I mean, I've been there. It's okay. Let's just take these right steps. I'm not someone who read a book about this and start working. No, I actually lived the life you're living. Made some decisions you're making. So we kind of connected in that way. I'm not saying what you're doing is okay. I'm just saying what you're doing is what you're doing. But let's make some different decisions. And let me not um pull you, but let me walk with you. Let's walk together. Let's walk this path together. Um, so yeah, so giving back, that's what I love to do. I love to give back. I love to help. I love to support because I know growing up, if I didn't met that guy, I don't know where I'd be. And that's one thing about the youth. I feel like we felt we had no support, especially me growing up. My dad wasn't around. I seen him around the block. See him sometimes, walk past. What's up, Dad? What's up, son? Keep walking. So I didn't have a relationship with him. I didn't have a father role model. My role model was guys that sit in the corner or my family members doing things they shouldn't be doing. So I wanted to be that youth worker for these youth around here. Hey, look, you don't have to be a basketball player. You don't have to be a fighter, but you can get that degree. Hey, you want to get a degree? Okay, you can only, like, you can be more than what you think you can be.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a good time in my life. Some up and downs too. I did have some challenges with the youth, right? But it was good and helped me become who I am now. And some of those youth still email me to this day, Facebook, hey V, how you doing? How's your fighting going? I still follow you. Like, oh, so that's good. That's good.
That is amazing, and obviously that impact that you had on some of them, that can last a lifetime. And one of the things that I love to sort of mention with things like this is obviously there's that ripple effect sort of concept, they call it, in other words, you help one of those young kids out and, when they get a bit older, they can help somebody else. And it sort of has a positive, like when you throw a stone in the water, it has that sort of ripple out and out, it has a positive effect because it passes on, in a positive way. And I definitely think that that is a very, very powerful, very, very, very powerful message to people. At this stage of the interview, because there's only a couple more things to get into, but one of them that I usually ask later on, but in your case, I'm going to get into now, is this concept of advice, because you gave some very, very powerful advice there for young people, people who want to do well in life, make healthier decisions, etc. Whether it's obviously it doesn't have to be in sports, it can be in anything. And I think obviously with this interview, we have sort of a global reach here for you to do the same and sort of speak to youth who may not even be in the same area. So I think giving advice is very powerful there. If you were to give anything else that you'd say, to people watching this, if there's sort of really young people watching this, they're going through a hard time, they're going through, some of what you went through. And I know you've covered a few things. You've covered believing in yourself, you've covered making these healthier choices, you've covered some really good advice. But I just want to sort of zone in on that a little bit more. Like I say, because here we do have the opportunity, to reach kids who are like in the UK, they're in Europe, they're in different parts of America, they're, wherever, because this is obviously digital and it can go global. So what would be sort of two or three key things that you'd say to like a young person who's going through, maybe some what you went through or some form of hard time, they don't think of there's a way out from it. And if they're watching this, what would you say to them? What would be sort of two or three things, like essential ingredients that you sort of say to them that they can do to sort of improve their lives and be happier, healthier, successful people? You get where I'm coming from, I
Yeah,
hope. Yeah.
I would definitely say it starts with your belief in yourself. I will say don't measure your success by other people. Don't measure how far you come or where you're going by the person next to you. It's all individualized, and also I believe life it isn't linear. Like it doesn't go this way. It goes up, down, back, forward. So you might take two forwards this way, then you might fall down. Then you might go this way. You might go up. So don't think of it as this. It's gonna be this and this and this, right? It's gonna be moments where you're gonna be having great days. You're always gonna have bad days, but you always remember it's gonna always be better. Don't measure your days by success of other people. And I think that's the biggest thing. Um, if I'm out of shape and I can do only one push up, and then a month from now I can do 10, but this guy can do 100, I can't say I'm not successful because he's doing 100, I'm doing 10. I went from 1 to 10. That's huge. So just think of that, taking one step and just individualize to yourself. I would say that'd be the biggest advice. Don't look at social media. Don't look at your friends. Look at yourself, how far you're going, one step at a time. And if you slip backwards, that's okay. That's part of the success is going backwards because you might have missed something back there, right? So you went back there for a reason to pick something up, and you go back forward, and keep pushing no matter what. Just keep pushing.
Yeah, that is powerful. It is really, really good to share. And again, like I said at the beginning, this whole thing is all about that hope and inspiration and everything like that. So I'm really glad, to get that message out there. Because, these are the things that you represent as an individual, is more than just being a fighter, even though that may be, the biggest thing you're known for. There's so much that, that you can share with people. And that's why I wanted to get into that a little bit more. Now, obviously we've talked a bit about different aspects of your life and the fight game and the past, the future, and this and that. But well, yeah, the future is actually something I want to get into a little bit as well, because even though we've talked about the present day, I think it would be good to touch on, what's next for you and sort of where you're going from here. Obviously, you mentioned a little bit at the beginning about this job you're in now, which is also giving back and helping people, which I think is fantastic. When it comes to obviously the fighter fans out there, and everything like that, with that being what you're most known for, um, what are your plans for sort of competing again? And obviously, you've had a little period where you haven't been as active, but we all hope to see you back in there competing in anything really. If it's MMA, if it's boxing, if it's something else. So, what are your plans for that, champ? I mean, in terms of the future with that aspect, and also if there's anything else that you'd like to share about your future plans, either be it with work or be it with anything, any other aspects of life. Let's just talk a little bit about plans, goals, dreams, and all that good stuff.
Jake Paul, give me that fight for sure. I would definitely, if I had a chance for that, I would definitely take that for sure. And be prepared for that. Jake Paul, come on, fans, give me Jake Paul fight. Um, I don't know. One thing about my career, my coach always said, he was like, Byron, you're so talented and you're so well rounded, but your I guess Achilles heels in my career was I got hurt a lot. I got hurt, like I got, and it wasn't even like my injuries. I got like bad injuries on my fights. The Roy Jones fight, uh, partially tore my bicep, and then the next day when I was sparring, I completely tore it. I tore my bicep that fight, and then it's funny because not funny, but it's crazy because then he tore his bicep his next fight. So I tore my left, tore his right. So I tore my bicep, and then I had my return fight, broke my leg and my ankle, and then broke my hand. So every single time in my fight career, when I got to here, like okay, it's Bellator or whatever, I'll get injured, and then I climb my way back up, and I get injured, and I climb my way back up. So I had a different challenges with injuries in my career. So this point, it would be if I always just wanted to make that walk in the UFC or Bellator just one time, just make that walk just one time. Maybe it won't happen. But if I can just get another fight like I did with the Roy Jones or Jake Paul, Logan Paul, something like that, and I can go out there and actually show my skills and actually um, show my skills and get a good paycheck too, right? No, that's nothing wrong with that, right? That'd be good. But far as me like pursuing UFC and pursuing that, I don't think so. I'm more so just I want to have some fun fights and entertainment fights before I hang it up. I do want to open my gym up in the future. I want to open the gym up. But I do feel like it's something that I want to accomplish before I open it up. I want to have a little bit more stuff on my resume. For those who know me, train with me, fought me, they know the skill. But when you look on paper, you look at my record, it doesn't tell the full story. And that's one thing I don't like about society's view on records. It's like, sorry, not record, just numbers. The numbers don't tell the full story, right? And that's one thing I don't like. So just based on the numbers, it doesn't say, "Oh, this guy got hurt in this fight. That's why I said lost. This guy broke his leg in this fight. That's why I said lost. This guy just." So it just has win or loss. So I feel like I feel like for me, I have to accomplish something just to kind of make it more of this here and make me more of a I guess a top coach. I know I have the skills and the coaching rhythm, but I feel like people still look at your what you have done. And I feel like I don't know. People say I've done a lot, but I haven't done. I don't think I've done enough. I haven't done a lot. I haven't accomplished a lot yet. Um, so just me, just studying and coaching and getting better at that, and and developing world class fighters. Hopefully, I can send a fighter for glory kickboxing and get a fight in the UFC or Bellator. But right now, yeah, I'm just if I was a fighter, it'd be a fight for the fans. It'd be a celebrity type fight for the fans. Other than that, I'm gonna be coaching the next athletes and kind of helping them not make the same mistakes I made. Being a fighter, when I was a fighter, I took every fight 1 week notice, 2 days notice, big weight class, okay, upper weight class. I didn't care. I just wanted to fight. I didn't understand the game. I don't understand the numbers game. I don't understand the no, you don't fight this guy yet. You can beat him, but no, why fight that guy? Fight that guy. So now as a coach, I can kind of put my fighters in the right situations to be successful because we all know it's a numbers game and it's politics. So just sharpen up that part of my brain, the coaching side.
Yeah. Well, I know obviously, you are already doing some good things there, but in the future you can do a lot more to help a lot of people. I definitely think, the best coaches are not just the coaches for sports, but they're the coaches for life as well, if you get what I mean. It's obviously like you mentioned with your own background and the people that helped you, I can definitely see you giving that life advice as well as the sort of physical advice to people. So I think I speak for people all over the world when we say, we hope to see you do that. Obviously, seeing you compete again as a fight fan would be fantastic. And again, I think I speak for fight fans all over when I say that would be absolutely fantastic as well. But the coaching side, especially because it has that long term effect and that positive impact on people. So on both counts, that would be fantastic. But champ, I mean, we've gone into some good stuff today. I mean, we've gone in depth into some things, and I know obviously with your story, there's probably a lot more to your story again, and we can go into but considering that the time that we've had and everything like that, it's been really good. One thing I would say is, personally, I do think you have accomplished a lot. I know you're sort of very humble about that and everything, but I know there's more you want to accomplish. But I do hope that you're proud of what you have accomplished as well. Just to get that in there. But the last thing for me to say is just to give you the one final question. Really, is obviously anything that you'd like to say to people watching this, to you, obviously your fans and your supporters who'll be watching this, but also to maybe people who it's their first time they've heard about you and things like that, because I've sort of aimed this interview at both, at the people that know you and the people that really it's like their first exposure. So to those people listening to this or watching this anywhere in the world, what would you say to them? What would be just a few words for them as the final question?
I would just say, if they want, you can follow me on my Instagram at Vyron Phillips, VYPHILLIPS. And you can inbox me, message me. I always respond to fans, always respond to people. Ask me any questions you want. It can be advice on a technique, it can be advice on a life, it can be whatever you want. I always respond to people. Um, and just whatever dream you have. I know we're in a time where the pandemic and things looking dark, but hold on, hold on. It gets better. Hold on and continue to push. And where we are right now, um, if it's not in a good place, that's not where you're gonna end, right? So always keep that belief and always move forward. And I'm here for everyone, anyone that want to message me, that want to ask me a question, that want me to give advice, whatever. I'm here. I'm here.
Amazing. Yeah, well, fans, anywhere, you heard it first, obviously, yeah, he's a very open guy, so you can contact him on social media, always answers, and absolutely, absolutely great individual. And I just want to say, obviously, champ, once again, a big thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, and obviously, I appreciate you taking the time out of obviously your morning, my afternoon, and everything, just to make the time to do this and share everything that you shared. So, a big thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.